side, UK's Prime Minister Liz Truss has called it quits. Her 45-day stint, the shortest ever for a British Prime Minister. Let's look at that timeline with Radhika Iyer, who joins us live from Westminster, London. The UK Prime Minister stepping down after MPs called for her resignation. Truss has been disastrous, say her opponents. Radhika joining me for more right now. Radhika, what exactly led to this?
Well, she took over on the 5th of September, and soon after, we know it has been an eventful last 6 weeks for Liz Truss. We know that the UK is in an unprecedented crisis of rising costs, and many are having to choose between heating and eating in their own homes, given the rise in the energy costs. And so the Prime Minister came about just after the Parliament came back into session after the Queen's passing, where she announced a mini budget session and had a huge rollback of taxes, which really shot Britain in its foot. The Bank of England was bewildered with the kind of turmoil that the market saw. The pound plummeted, mortgage interest rates rose to an unprecedented high, and people really were struggling. And that's the time when the Chancellor had to leave, and then Jeremy Hunt came to take over as Chancellor. Just days ago, Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary, resigned, saying she loses faith in Liz Truss and her prime ministerialship. Liz Truss herself self-admittedly said that it was a mistake that she made, and that going forward she was going to take any decision, a major decision, in consultation with experts and her cabinet, and that she overshot too soon and too fast. Just 24 hours ago, Liz Truss said that she would be leading the Conservative Party to the next general election, and she was holding on to her post and her job as Prime Minister of the UK. But today, a big U-turn. The chief of the 1922 Conservative Committee met with Liz Truss at number 10, called for an emergency meeting, and then we saw her resignation, which came in, and her statement, of course, which we heard, where she says that she is no longer able to keep the mandate on which she came to power, or she became the Prime Minister on the 5th of September. So a very short tenure, the shortest, in fact, Britain has seen for a Prime Minister, at 45 days only. And now, before next week, Friday, the 28th of October, we will have the new Prime Minister as committed by the Conservative leadership in an election within the party.
So that point you just made, Radhika, let's just look, because it was just 24 hours ago when she stood up in Parliament. She faced booing MPs, said she's a fighter, not a quitter. So what changed that dramatic 24 hours? Here's what Liz Truss said.
I came into office at a time of great economic and international instability. Families and businesses were worried about how to pay their bills. Putin's illegal war in Ukraine threatens the security of our whole continent, and our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. We delivered on energy bills and on cutting national insurance. And we set out a vision for a low-tax, high-growth economy that would take advantage of the freedoms of Brexit. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This morning I met the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady. We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans and maintain our country's economic stability and national security. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Thank you.
So Liz Truss's resignation, as she says that a successor will be elected by 31st or at the Conservative Party, but Labour chief is calling for fresh general elections. Radhika, what does this mean for Rishi Sunak? Because of course in India there's interest in that because he is of Indian origin and N.R. Narayana Murthy's son-in-law.
Well, he certainly, above anybody else, will be having an I told you so moment, because he was the one who came out to criticize Liz Truss's tax plans and tax reduction plans, being a former Chancellor of the economy of Britain. And many thought that he perhaps was the right person to take over as Prime Minister at a time that UK's unprecedented cost of living crisis and economy being in turmoil. Well, there is a good chance. A big part of him wants to be a part of this race and also perhaps contest for this PM's job. But we're also hearing reports, Sonia, that Boris Johnson may not well be out of the race. It's possible that he could put his name forward for the race as well. So it's going to be another week, another few days of drama, and an absolutely disgraceful moment for the Conservative leadership, which clearly Sir Graham, who also shared this statement saying he doesn't want to be in this post given the kind of embarrassing situations that the party has been in. However, they hold the majority. So despite demands by Keir Starmer and Nicola Sturgeon, the chief of Labour and SNP respectively, calling out for a general election and a snap election as soon, the Conservative Party is holding on to the horse and say that they have the majority and they will find a successor soon enough, possibly Rishi Sunak, given
Radhika,
so many are now joining the membership.
These turbulent times in UK politics, it reminds us of some of the days. Indian democracy seems very calm and mature compared to what's happening in the United Kingdom. And the Daily Star ran that fantastic campaign comparing Liz Truss, how long she'd last as opposed to a lettuce. And the lettuce has won.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, that particular campaign went on to make headlines. In fact, there is also the video of Rishi Sunak that is again becoming viral. I've been receiving messages randomly at various networks that I'm a part of, where a lot of people in Rishi Sunak's campaign who still are in his camp are sharing messages asking for people to become members of the Conservative Party. We saw a quick increase in the membership of the Conservative Party just ahead of that September poll, and the qualification for a member to vote in this election is not just he has to be a Conservative member, but also should have been one for at least 1 week. And so for next Friday, there's only that 24-30 hours, and so we are expecting a surge
1 week, not a very long loyalty test. But let's see, is Great Britain ready for Rishi, or are the Tories ready for Rishi? Let's see how that plays out.